This meeting is being live streamed. Okie dokie.
Yes.
Get back to my place. One of these days, we'll do a live show with absolutely no technical issues.
Well, we shall.
I live in hope. Right. Hi,
That's
folks.
right.
I'm Aslin Bloor, and that's...
I'm G.A.G. Townsend from G.A.G's Kitchen. Good morning and welcome to our kitchen today. Technical issues and all.
I'm on the south coast of the United Kingdom, and G.A.G.?
I'm in the southwest part of the United States in Arizona, so USA. So it's kind of we're like far away from each other, and yet we're being united all this time. So
absolutely. Just after 6 p.m. here and
11:05 here in the morning.
All righty. So today we're going to be doing some easy festive desserts. Sometimes you want to take your time and make it complicated. Sometimes you want a quickie, don't you? So
absolutely.
So Giangi, tell us what you're cooking, then you can get started and then I can do my stuff.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to be making a little spin off of the tiramisu. I'm going to make a pumpkin tiramisu, and I still have some pumpkin puree left. So I'm going to go very easy. I'm going to use the heavy cream, mascarpone, pumpkin puree, some turbinado sugar, which is raw sugar in the raw, pumpkin spice, which I actually create my own little pumpkin spice because trying to mix it every time is insane, which is pretty much cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and clove. Then I also made some espresso coffee for you guys a little earlier and I mixed some sugar in there, and that's it. I'm going to whip this up, and then we're just going to put it on cute little glasses or anything else that you want to, and that's it. So that's all I'm going to be doing.
Cool.
That's my easy peasy.
Who doesn't like tiramisu? Tiramisu is a great dessert any time of the year, really. But when you've got pumpkin, and you've got pumpkin right up to, for quite a while now, so you might as well.
Absolutely. So
right, when you are about to get started, I'll reach out and mute you.
Oh, that'd be wonderful, because I have my little, I'm putting all this in the KitchenAid. I mean, there's one thing I love about this dessert. It really doesn't take much to do because the machine puts everything in it. So I put a whisk. So
you've just placed some cream.
Every cream. So now I'm going to put my pumpkin puree right inside. Okay. Which is pretty yummy if you ask me. I have a half a cup of sugar in the raw. I know it sounds odd, it's a lot of sugar, but it's just yum. The mascarpone. Come on, baby. Just don't be afraid. I've been actually eating some of this one because I adore mascarpone.
Me too.
With a little sugar in the morning. Ooh, yum. So this, and then a teaspoon of my pumpkin pie mix. I made this, and it's much easier to make a lot of it. And so you just put that in. That's it. And I am ready to rock and roll, put it into my little machine. So I'll be muted for a while, my dears.
Okie dokes. I muted myself. I did mute Giangi. Good grief. I do apologize, folks. I'm usually a little bit less scatterbrained than this. So while Giangi is zapping away in her food processor, I'm going to be doing my dessert. Now, it's an easy dessert, poached pears in red wine that we're going to serve with mascarpone. So now, let's start with the pears. We want some firm pears, not overly ripe, because if you've got overly ripe pears, they're just going to fall apart and get too soft in your pan. So the first thing you're going to do is to just cut the base ever so slightly so that you can actually place them upright and they will stand instead of toppling over if you don't create a flat base. Although that one was standing up, wasn't it? So there we go. Are you ready to be unmuted, Janji? Not yet. Okay. So we've got 2 pears. Next thing I'm going to do is peel the pears. I'll do one as quickly as I can. Now, these pears, poached pears in red wine, you can also poach pears in white wine. That's perfectly fine as well. And it's a very, very easy dessert, and you can make it ahead too. Make this particular recipe up to 2 days ahead and place the finished product, the poached pears, complete with the wine syrup. You'll see what I mean later. Place them in the fridge. And then on the day you're planning to serve it, all you do is, if you want to serve it at warm, heat it up gently, or you can serve it cold, or bring it out about 2 hours, 1 hour before you're actually going to have dessert, and leave it to come to room temperature. So, Gianji, how are we doing with your zapping away in there? Done? Unmute? I think I can unmute her. So let's try that. Just in case, put your fingers in your ears, folks. Okay, right. I think you have to unmute yourself by the looks of it, Gianji. Yeah.
Okay, there's a bad thing that I have a bad habit of doing. But when you have a whisk full of this goodies, you really just put it away, or you just kind of go, oh no, I had trash.
Totally, absolutely, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so good.
So you've just whipped up your cream, your pumpkin puree.
Yes, a pumpkin pie, pumpkin puree, heavy cream, mascarpone, and the sugar. And I'm going to put it on this very pretty little dish. I know I have one more dish to clean. You're not supposed to do this at home. I'm just doing this because I want to show you the color as well as the consistency to it. Okay, so put this here. There you go. This is what it's supposed to look like. Little soft peaks. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So this is you seen how long it took. So now this is the only step like you would do the tiramisu. Now you can put on tiny little ramekin for the holidays. You can do it the family style way. Just put it onto a plate, or you can do a very romantic. Put it on cute little glasses. So
which is my preferred way. Before you do that, I'm just going to do this step, which I should have done before I started peeling the pears. So what we're going to do is we're going to start simmering the wine, which I may or may not have had a glass from. So pour your red wine into your saucepan. Place it on the stove. We want it up to simmering point. Wrong one, of course. There we go. So we place our red wine on the stove, and along with a little brandy. You'll find a link to the full recipe at the end of this video on YouTube. So a little brandy is always good.
Little brandy.
Yeah. And then we add some sugar, which is about half a cup, 100 grams of sugar into this particular, with 2 pears. You can also make this exact same amount with 4 pears, however much your saucepan is going to take, essentially. And then we add a small cinnamon stick. And then we've got a vanilla pod, which you want to cut in half and scrape all the seeds out, preferably without cutting your fingers.
That would not be a good thing.
So we're just going to scrape our vanilla seeds out. Oop, my vanilla's a bit brittle, so there we go. So we're just going to dump our vanilla in there. I'll scrape the seeds from this while Gianji gets on with her assembly.
Then I'll just cut, because of the glasses the way it is, I'll just cut my little Savoiardi. Now there's different kind. Always buy the Italian Savoiardi. Dip it into coffee. Put it in the bottom. Okay. Well, this is very easy and is just perfect for the holidays, perfect for New Year's Eve, perfect for a romantic dinner. With or without kids. I know it sounds odd to say romantic with kids, but they're gonna have to learn a little bit of romanticism. So no why from us, right? And then you just take your mascarpone, you just put it right in there, cover it. Now, I'm very generous on this, but it's up to you.
So how does the pumpkin go with the coffee? You've got coffee there, haven't you? You're doing
Oh yes, I do it with coffee. This is an espresso. I have my little espresso cafetiera that I buy in Europe. So, and I have Lavazza coffee that I like. If you do not have this, a very strong American coffee, the drip, or the Nescafe dry powder, very concentrated, will do also excellent with it. Just because of the bitterness of it, I put sugar into a couple of teaspoons of sugar inside of the coffee, and it melted when it was nice and hot. So it was just really good on that aspect. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more because I have a sweet tooth. I am a sweet tooth person, sorry. So
that looks good. So how long should you be soaking your Savoiardi fingers for?
You're looking at it, this is as long as it goes. No longer than that, because it sits in. Now, when the coffee is hot, it takes literally seconds, or a sip a lot faster than when it is not. Mine has been sitting here a little bit longer. I wouldn't be doing this a little longer, but that's how we do it. Okay, but yes, make sure that when the coffee is hot, you do it very slightly. Put a little bit more on top of it if you wish.
Nothing worse than a soggy bottom tiramisu, I think.
I could not agree with you more, Aslan. Okay, and then what I did, so now you see this is just 2 cute little cups. They're enough for a nice little dinner at home. Then there is something else I did this morning. I made some chantilly, which is heavy cream with, instead of the powdered sugar, I used the same sugar, which is the raw sugar that I use in the recipe with it. And you just take a nice little, now make sure that there's a soft peaks, but not too much, because it can go fast. So you just put just a little dollop of that on top of it. Okay, I'm a very generous dollop person. And
why not? You've got to have, I mean, when there's cream around, you've got to go crazy.
And it's the holidays. I mean, really, do we care about the weight right now? No. And then a little bit of shaved white chocolate over it. Or if you want to do some cacao with it, whatever you want to do. I love white chocolate with it. It gives it a nice little balance. That's it. And I am done. Your dessert is done. Now, you can put it in the refrigerator if you wish to. You can do this the day before and put the whipped cream and the chocolate shaving at the last minute over it. You can make them like this. You can put them on a smaller ramekin if you have little ones around, so you don't want to have them all the sugar. Or like I said earlier, you can do it the typical way that, all put together on the bottom, Savoiardi cream, and then when you serve it on as individual pieces, add a little bit of the chantilly. But this is it. This is my dessert.
Excellent. Quick and easy. Totally quick and easy. And can be made ahead. Can be made ahead as well. Right. So back in my kitchen, red wine is at its simmering stage. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop our pears in, lie them down to get most of the pear itself submerged in the wine. Now, to open up another bottle of wine just to cover the pears completely is perhaps a little bit of a waste. So, you could leave them mostly submerged. If you really want to add a little water, not too much, because you don't want to dilute the wine that's going to be absorbed by the pears. So what you can do is essentially just turn the pears over 2 or 3 times during the poaching process, which is only going to take about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the size of your pears and also depending on how ripe they are. Remember at the start, I said we don't want to go for pears that are too ripe because they'll just soften too quickly. So we're going to leave this to simmer for 20 to 30 minutes. And how you know it's done is that you take a cocktail stick, toothpick, whatever it's called in your part of the world, and just what you want is for your cocktail stick to glide right through to the middle of your pears. Then you know they are done. So at that stage, after simmering, we take the pears out. Now, because we're not going to wait 20 to 30 minutes, remember I said turn the pears over so that they'll color equally. So we're going to move that back to the back stove, and I'm going to bring across the one that I made earlier today. So to test that your pears are done, you take a cocktail stick, and the cocktail stick should just
goes right in it.
Go right through without any resistance. Then you know your pear is done. So what you do is when your pears are done, 2 of them, 4 of them, you take them out, take the pears out, and then you simmer strongly. You could even, perhaps not boil, but simmer whatever is left in your saucepan to about half the amount. So what you end up with is basically a thick, syrupy, beautiful, luscious. I should do it where there you go.
Yes, with the white. Ooh,
you can see
yummy.
that. There we are. There you go. So it's an amazingly delicious sauce. So
I wish I lived next door.
So we're going to serve the pears with that syrup. So you want a little bit of depth in your bowl that you're serving it with, because you are going to have a little bit of the syrup. So when you were peeling the pear earlier, you want to leave a little bit of the stalk just so that it will look pretty. Whee, it's going to move around, isn't it? So there we go. So there's your pear. And then we're going to spoon some of the sauce over the pear again, like that. How much sauce you want is completely up to you. What I usually do is pour about a couple of small spoonfuls and then leave the rest and pour the rest of the sauce in a little jug, place it on the table, and those who would like more syrup can help themselves to it. So that's our pear. And so you serve it with a helping of ice cream, cream, maybe custard if you want to go down that route as well. But of course, my favorite is mascarpone.
Mascarpone. Now, I have a question for you. What pear do you recommend? Do you have a favorite, or it doesn't matter? Because I know everywhere in the world we have different pears, different seasons. So do you have a favorite pear then you would recommend?
Yes. So it does rather depend on where, what you can get in your part of the world. So where I am, Bosque pears are good. They tend to be longer and slender, but they are firm, so they are good for this recipe. Some people like to go for the feta variety, like what I've got here today, because I couldn't get Bosque for today. So this was, I think, a Williams pear. So anything that is sturdy is what you want. So we've got our pear. It's sitting in its luscious, sticky syrup. So what we're going to do is just serve it with a dollop of mascarpone on the side.
You have no idea. I'm salivating over here because that's one of my favorite desserts, and I make that every year for Christmas as well. And I'm sitting here going, "Ooh, I really wish I was there right now with a beautiful spoon and just grab onto it."
But to me, mascarpone is the only way to go. So there you go.
Absolutely, that looks magnificent. Beautiful.
So when you actually serve it through, you will see how easily the fork actually glides through. So the underside of it will still retain that uncolored.
Oh, perfect.
So
well, shall we try it?
Absolutely.
Oh, come on, let's do it for once.
So I'm going to have a spoon because you've got to take the syrup and the mascarpone at the same time. So all I used 2 pears, a bottle of red wine, sugar, vanilla, and cinnamon stick. That's it for this dessert.
And let's enjoy it. Oh my God, Evan. Oh, Evan. I'm gonna stop.
So you've got soft pear, fairly plain, fruity. You've got syrup, a very sticky, almost caramel-like syrup made from red wine, and of course the mascarpone just balances the whole
thing.
And I
have a tiramisu rich, coffee rich savoiardi with a velvety pumpkin heavy cream, mascarpone cream with some more whipped cream on top of it. And of course, a dab of chocolate. And just like that, we have two fabulous dessert for Christmas, New Year's Eve, Valentine's, pretty much anytime. Then the pumpkin, obviously not so much for Valentine's, but in the pairs for Christmas and New Year's Eve.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any time of the year, really, when you have access to the ingredients, you can make them.
Yes.
And both of them are make ahead. This whole thing is made ahead 2 days early. Giangi's is up to a certain point just before the finish.
And you can actually, I have done it in the past, and I put the whipped cream on top of it and then put it in the refrigerator overnight. You can, but it's nice to have the whipped cream in the morning because it's nice and fresh. It just has a little different, it doesn't change the flavor. It just looks a little different and looks like freshness to it. Yeah. So that's really much it. And like I said, if you do it on the bigger plate one, you cut it, just put a dollop on top of it is the same way. So we have two fabulous desserts, and it takes a little bit longer, but if the holidays coming upon us, this is it. It's very done. Easy.
Yeah, easily done. So there you go. Poached pears in red wine and
pumpkin tiramisu. Both recipe, Aslan will put them under the link, correct? A little bit later, as soon as we're done with this. We are so excited about this today, and shall we talk about next week's?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be back next week. Giangi will be hosting next week's, and hopefully with a little less technical issue. And what are we doing next week, Giangi?
We are going to do a little early celebration, seeing that it will be our last live video of the year. We want to celebrate in style, so we will have a couple of drinks. Yes, I know. I have a recipe that I'm working on it. I know Aslan has tons on the repertoire, so come back next week. We'll put some social media same time, and we look so forward to having you there. And again today, thank you for joining us. And any closing words?
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, folks. And for those of you who were hoping to see this live on YouTube as it was happening, oops, sorry about that. Next week, we'll get it right and the link will be working. So there you go. Take care. Have a good week ahead, and we shall see you next Sunday. Bye now.
Bye, guys.